Welcome to World of Tanks content from Noble Q, and in this video I'm going to show you some ace tanker gameplay in the tier 10 German tank destroyer, the Grille 15. Hello there. Well, before we go into a battle with the Grille 15, let's have a look first at my crew, which is a bit of a mix and match. There's some highly trained members here, as you can see, particularly the gunner, but then some less well-trained members. The two loaders in particular are lagging behind quite a bit. As for equipment, we've got the improved aiming in the firepower slot, which is the appropriate slot, and that really helps with this tank. Otherwise it's very slow to aim. We've got an improved equipment here. It's called the innovative loading system. I can't help but call it a gun rammer. And we've got optics, which helps with the view range. We've got a camouflage directive on. Well, this tank has awful camouflage for a TD, so that helps a little. As far as the loadout is concerned, we have 18 armour-piercing shells, 8 high-explosive anti-tank, and 4 high-explosive. And then, perhaps a little unusually, I've got a small repair kit and a small first aid kit in the first 2 consumable slots, and then chocolate. Okay, well, let's go and see how this tank performs in the battle that's coming up. So here we are on the Westfield map on the northern spawn, and it's an all tier 10 battle. Those of you familiar with my World of Warplanes videos will know that I review the plane that I'm flying. Well, I'm not going to review the Grille, nor will I suggest how you might set it up. I'm not going to do a strategic and tactical analysis of the map either. I'm simply not good enough a World of Tanks player to do that. There are plenty of other people on the internet where you can get much better information. We're just going to watch this battle, and I hope you enjoy it. So there's a position down to the left here, which I'm going to run to. It's excellent for high camo TDs. You can fire from it without being spotted. Not entirely sure it's going to work that way for the Grille. We'll have to wait and see. We're approaching the position now. Just going to knock down a little tree, not that it provides much extra cover. And the thing about this position is that if any enemy is unwise enough to poke too far through the village about here, or enemy crests the hills a bit too far here, you can get shots. So I point the gun at the village first. No enemy comes through. And now tanks are beginning to appear at the hills, and I'm going to turn my attention to them. Now, this being a tier 10 battle, I'd be quite surprised if any of them push over too far and allow me to shoot them. I'm much more likely to get shots at the little U-shaped depression that you briefly glimpsed off to the right there. And as we come back, I'll just use the mouse there. That's where I would expect my first shots to be in a tier 10 battle. Lower tier battles from this position, often you find the enemy is quite unwise and will actually poke over the hills or even run round the bottom of them and provide you with shots. If from this position you're able to get shots into the valley, your team is struggling on that flank. The Super Conqueror does actually push a little bit too far, but despite this supposedly being a really accurate gun, I declined to try and shoot in there. I found that I miss far too often with thin shots with the Grille gun. I don't think it feels as accurate as it's reputed to be. And at this point, quite early in the battle, you find the first tank is actually in the U. The Super Conqueror pulled over and distracted me, and I take an unwise clutch shot at the 705A, and then even more unwisely I wait to see if I'm spotted, and he aims very quickly, and that's 572 damage done to my tank already. Not a great start. Now normally once you've rolled down here you can't get back up, but on this occasion I find I have the purchase, so I roll back up. And now I'm going to be a lot more careful, and you can guarantee that from now on, as soon as I fire from here, I'm going to roll down and into cover. Think about shooting the 705, decide that I'm more likely to get a bounce than I am a penetration, so I decline, and then this 60 FTP gives me his lower plate. And immediately I roll down into cover, and it's a good job I did because I was spotted. Wait for myself to go unspotted. You can see I've got a little timer in the centre of the screen. That's set to 12 seconds, so I'm reasonably sure I've been unspotted. And at this point I find that, as usual, I now can't run up this piece of ground. I try a few angles, but I can't find the one that gives me purchase to get back into these bushes. I'm going to have to give up in a moment or two, otherwise I'm wasting my time, and I roll to the bushes on the right. Given how far the enemy tanks have pushed into that U-shaped depression, I should still be able to shoot from here. And I'm not wrong, the 60 TP obligingly gives me his lower plate for the second time. Now I roll down underneath the ridge line to make sure I can't be shot, and I was spotted again. Wait until I'm unspotted. Roll into the bush again. The 705 is giving me a little of his tank, but not enough that I can get a clean shot. Focus to see if he'll make the mistake of rolling over too far. Nothing doing there. Briefly there was a shot there, but I declined to take it. Accuracy not being the strong suit of this gun, despite what everyone says. I can then see the Super Conquerors coming over too far, and not only do I manage to pop him a shot, I also get his fuel tank, and thank you very much, that's 1172 damage in one shot. Very handsome. And now we're beginning to get on top at the hills. I roll up just to see if there are going to be any more shots, but now I would expect the enemy to play defensively rather than aggressively as they have been. And now it's time probably to seek another position. Again, just roll up into the original position, have a quick look at the village. With 5-3 up, even though the IS-4 that was guarding the bottom of the village for a while has now moved up to the hills, I suspect I can get to the village safely. So I advance, and in that case I'm hoping initially that I might get some shots over across the valley against the enemy tanks here. And we seem to be winning that flank at the moment. Well, as you'll see, soon that changes. Sit waiting for spots, and suddenly my team have become very conservative, and they're not spotting anything. Meanwhile, the tanks that have advanced through the hills and cleaned up the enemy tanks are being held up by a pair of very vicious tank destroyers, the FE4005 and the Jagdpanzer E100. And then fortunately, as I run to see if I can get into position to shoot them, the T110E3 unwisely rolls out, trying to get shots on the tanks at the hills and straight into my line of fire. First kill, high roll, 821, nice result. And as we can see, things are not going so well around about K0 at all now. We're down to 2 tanks and they're both very low health. And what looked like a winning position there doesn't look like it anymore. A little bit worried what the Manticore's doing, so I pause, look across the valley again in case the Manticore has dropped down into the valley and is coming up to the village. Or at least can get close enough to spot me. The FE4005 has gone down. Got to be careful about the Strib 103B. Roll forward to see if I can see him. Nothing doing there. And now I can see tanks across the valley, and suddenly the Grille appears. This is about as easy a shot as you could imagine. However, I've seen this gun miss those. I'm happy to hit the Grille quite hard. Possibly could consider a blind shot here, but decide that it's too long before I reload. So I focus on the Progetto. He's behind the ridge, can't get him. And then the Manticore obligingly comes over the ridge, and slowly at that, and I destroy him for my second kill. And the Progetto kills our last medium there, but now he's on his own, and I suspect the Grille is not going to back him up. I don't think they're going to be attacking from that position. So, we're not going to get any more spots around about the K0 area. Need time to turn my attention back to the tanks that were coming off the hills. They're still being held up by a very low health Jagdpanzer and the Strib 103B. I decide to see if I can shoot the Jagdpanzer. Push forward, there's a wall in the way. See the Striv blow up, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. I can push forward safely, and as it turns out I can just see the top of the Jagdpanzer, and I destroy him, and that clears the way for the tanks on the hills finally to advance. And now I'm going to guess that the Grille is still in much the same position as he was before. There's a bush just ahead of me and slightly to the right that I'm going to roll to. If the Grille is where I think he is, I'll be able to use that as cover. He still won't be able to see him. I'm slightly out of his view range, and when he is spotted I should be able to shoot him. And there he is. already aimed, more or less. I hit him and get his track, and that allows my team to finish him off, and now it's 14-9. And it's just the Progetto. I'm going to guess he's in the same position. Most of my team head south to try and attack the position where he was last seen. I decide to flank from the opposite direction. So I run through the valley. Grille 15 is still quite a fast tank. Roll up this hill. And what I'm hoping is that at the very least I'll spot the Progetto so that my team can shoot him. And if I'm lucky, I'll get a good clean shot on him. Cresting the hill now, and the moment I crest, I get spotted. That tells me roughly where the Progetto is. I head towards where I think he is, which is on top of the mound. He is there, he shoots. He gets another shot in, but I get a shot into his turret and finish him off. That's my 4th kill, and it's a handsome victory. I was very pleased with this battle. So let's take a look at the outcome of that battle, and straight away we can see that it's an ace tanker. And more than that, as you can tell by this, it's the first ever ace tanker I've got in the Grille 15. Well, actually, it's even more significant than that. This is the first ace tanker I've got in any tier 10 vehicle, and that took me 69,164 battles, so I've got a big smile on my face. Epic achievements: a tank sniper and a high caliber, 4 kills, damage 6,470, critical hits. We destroyed the fuel tank on the Super Conqueror and got a fire, so for extra damage there. 4 on the Grille 15, disabled it. And if we look at assistance, we can see that in total it was 669, split between spotting and damaging tracks, 358 and 311 respectively. We go into the team score. We can see that by experience that was actually second across both teams, only by a little. Well played to the 60 TP there. But by kills I was first on either team, so top there. And if we go into the detailed report, we can see that grossed 70,247 credits, and after repairs, auto resupply of the ammunition and the consumables, actually came home with 16,901 credits. A little bit unusual for a tier 10 battle. Experience 1,736, and once bonuses were added, that came out to 5,208, with 87 free experience. Well, I don't exactly need the free experience, I've got lots from World of Warplanes, but nevertheless quite nice. And I was very happy with the outcome of this battle. And that concludes my look at the battle in the Grille 15. This tank is a pale shadow of what it used to be. But my skills seem to have improved in it a little, and I was very happy to come out with an ace tanker. Well, I hope you found that quite interesting to watch, and if you did, you'll come and see my future content. But until then, this is the Noble Q, signing out.